Hello, this is Renee Beth Poindexter, and I am delighted to be here with Samuel Osborne Huerta. And he is a key leader in our youth advisory group for Living the Potential Network. And what I love about Samuel is that he's embodying the vision that I held when I thought, what would the world be like if we actually listened to what the youth had to say related to my book, that's Living the Potential, Engaging the Wisdom of Our Youth to Save the World. And, lo and behold, when you're clear about what you want, here we are on the cusp of a brand new year. I am delighted to see Samuel be here today to share with us a vision that he had as a result of being heard and seen. Now, one thing you want to know about Samuel, he's pretty humble, but he is a creative person. He is a writer, he is a musician, and he is what I would call, let's just say, an artist in a way that says, what if people could, through their expressions, be heard and seen and cultivate the life that they dream of? And Samuel, you as a budding actor, it's okay for me to say that, actor, musician, and writer, tell us about this show that you dreamt up, this Let's Just Talk.
Oh, absolutely. So I remember I was in my arts classes and I was thinking about how expression is often celebrated if it's some kind of spectacle, if it is some kind of performance art, or if it's a painting or some sort of visual thing. Basically, if it's anything but just honest expression, it's okay. But then I've seen so many times people say things, maybe oversharing or whatever on social media, to just zero response. And it's not other people's responsibility, I suppose, to respond to it. But at the same time, I just found it interesting that, like, okay, here is one thing. If it's spectacle, it's great, but God forbid we just say what we feel. And so I made this little prototype on TikTok, where I just was like, I think it should be okay to just say what you're dealing with, and maybe other people can connect to it, and that's good. And so what I talked about in that little prototype was like insecurities I'd had with my appearance, and how I dealt with those. And a lot of people in the comments responded to it, and they shared their own experiences with that, and it just made me really happy to see. And so I knew I wanted to make it something real.
That's awesome. So you brought that concept and idea to me, and we talked about it, and we thought, we want more people to be seen and heard. How do we because we have a podcast, Bridging the Potential, which is really cool, and you're on the podcast as well. But this vision is your vision, and you brought it to the other 6 members of the Youth Advisory Council and brainstormed this idea of let's just talk. So what is the uniqueness about this show that you envision? Because we're just launching this in 2022. What's your vision?
Well, my vision, I guess, is also one big part of it is that it's not just mine. Although it is my vision, I hope to structure it in such a way that the discussions sound like, we're both whoever is on the show, we're equal parts, the hosts, because I really would like it to be a place that people can go to listen to like just people talk about their own lives, and maybe they'll connect to something, maybe they'll notice something that they can use to help them through what they're going through, or maybe something that just is nice for them to hear, while also being a place that people can interact with the Youth Advisory Council. I think that getting to know us is a really, really important part of it's a really important part of anyone caring about the show, because if we're just sitting here talking and saying opinions, but people don't know who we are and what we care about, then why would they have any reason to listen?
Right. So it's in a conversational format, and you referred to it as like an old-fashioned radio show in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us more about that.
Well, I really liked, I mean, my whole life I've always liked listening to things as I fall asleep, and then I found that some of the most helpful things were um, just they were like let's plays, like people playing, they would just talk while they were playing video games, and I would listen to those, and they would tell stories about like their lives, and that's honestly how I learned a lot about the world and people. It was just through listening to those, and I was like, I would love to provide something like that for people
That's
that
great.
makes them feel less alone, maybe.
Right. So you have a vision, and the whole thing about living the potential is like sharing your vision and go, what if we can manifest it? So you got some buy-in from the group, and the group of there's 7 youth advisors, and the goal is we want to grow the network and have more youth be seen and heard. And I think this show is going to help, because where do they go to be seen and heard now, and to really be able to talk about what they want to talk about? So you've got some ideas for future shows. Maybe you could
Oh,
share a
yeah.
few of those. Share a few of the ideas, and then what do you want to hear? How do you want the audience to participate?
Absolutely. So first couple of episodes, the first one I appear with Cassie Funmaker, who is another member of the council, and we talk about, we're both biracial BIPOC, and so we talk about our Indigenous identity, and we talk about just sort of some experiences we've gone through, and God, it's just a really good conversation. What we've got in the works is we've got some stuff talking about navigating the world while being neurodivergent. We've got some stuff about gender identity. Just a lot of conversations that I think people tend to shy away from. That if we just were very candid, I think people would be a lot more comfortable with it.
Absolutely. Well, it's the authenticity, being vulnerable. They say vulnerability is a strength.
Yeah.
So being real, being authentic, sharing from your heart opens up participation. And we're going to be trying out some new venues for participation. So because there's the show, and then there's feedback, and then there's conversations that happen afterwards. What do you envision that to look like?
Well, we're going to have a Discord community, which Cassie actually is taking the lead on right now. And my vision for that is a space for people who all like the show for the same reason, or not necessarily the same reason, but who people who connect to something with the show because it's they want to, you know, be vulnerable and authentic, and also hold space for other people, and show empathy and compassion towards others. Like, those are the people we want in that community, and it is my hope that it creates a place, even if we can't have a physical space to do this, it creates a digital space for people to share the things they're feeling and thinking without really needing a reason to.
Exactly. And to be in community.
Yeah.
And to find
absolutely.
a community where they can be appreciated and celebrated for their uniqueness, as
Yes.
opposed to being coerced to being like everybody else.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what would you like the listeners to this particular video? What would you like them to take away from this conversation?
I'd like them to take away the idea or the notion that if you have an idea, you can turn it into something. I mean, that's all this was. Let's Just Talk was just a little flash of an idea, and then now it's becoming a show, and I think it has the potential to do a lot of good. So if you have an idea that you're like, yeah, this could do some good, do it, do the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And let us know how Living the Potential can support you, because we're growing leadership
Absolutely.
with the youth being heard and seen sooner rather than later, because I think our future depends on it. So thank you, Samuel Osborne Huerta, who
Thank
you
you,
are.
Renee.
It's a pleasure to be on this creative path with you. And thanks,
Likewise.
yeah, thanks to all the listeners. We look forward to having you participate in our Let's Just Talk venue. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.